Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategic or compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some more questions with regard to resolution from the viewers, and we're also going to be looking at the first update in terms of broker AST survey. So stay tuned for that. We're also going to be looking at 2 undervalued semiconductor stocks. And before we get started, let's have a look at what's happening in the market. So first headline here from Fox Business. We can see here that the holiday debt hangover is poised to be particularly nasty this year, analysts say. So buy now, pay later service fees are surging approximately 40%. So it is an important thing to try and stay out of debt if you possibly can. And the other update in terms of the overall markets from investing.com, there was a good close to the week. The Dow Jones was up 2.9%, and this was the 7th weekly gain in a row. And the S&P 500 was up 2.9%, very healthy there. 2.5%, and that was also the 7th straight weekly gain. And finally, in terms of headline from Reuters, we can see what Elon Musk is saying, that oil and gas should not be demonized because they are important for the world economy, and we are definitely not in a situation where we are ready to move over completely to electric. So oil and gas are essential for the world economy. First thing I'd like to do is share an update on yesterday's space chat, where we had John Berder come in, talk about the open letter, and he also talked about a potential resolution. So I remember, if anybody hasn't checked out Anna's post, this was where we initially found out in terms of this letter being sent out to Congress. There is a December the 20th deadline. So before we look at what action you can take, let's have a quick clip of some of the statements that John Berder made yesterday.
What's important about that is, if they don't answer, there are some questions in there that we had no input on. They're kind of softball questions, to be honest with you, and they're very easily answered questions. But number 9 is so hard hitting that if they avoid number 9, it's all bullshit, right? So, when you guys see the letter, I think we all need to be in support of it. Ben, if you could take down that post, we don't need to be calling Darcy's office and saying, hey, we want to change this, we want to change that. That ship has sailed. Let's get the letter signed, and then we can do a full court press based upon what's signed in the letter, and keep doing what we've been doing. So the more people that we can get to sign on this letter, the more we can talk about it, the more people that it will spread to on social media. Keep in mind, every one of their offices has a following as well. So it doesn't do us any good to argue about anything right now. I just want everybody to understand that everybody's working in their own way to try to get this finished up. And I don't want to bombard Darcy's office or any of their offices right now, other than, hey, the letter is in your portal, please sign it. That's it. And I think, that's where we got to go with this. And so there's other things that are happening in the background in different avenues outside of Congress that are proceeding very nicely, and they're going to be taking the cue from this letter at Congress. So the sooner we get it out, the sooner I can work with those other agencies to get us a resolution.
So in response to that message, what I posted earlier today is that right now, from a personal point of view, I'm cautiously optimistic that we are getting very close. So what are we getting close to? I believe we may be getting close to getting the share count. We also may be getting very, very close to potentially getting a resolution, as stated by John Berder, who also said that they are working with agencies outside of Congress as well. So I think we are now at a critical phase. But what can you do? So you could potentially now join the third letter campaign to educate more members of Congress about the MMTLP fiasco. So you can do this at Fair Markets now.org. So go ahead there. There is a very, very simple template. You can add in your message there, and obviously remember, they want your vote. You will be a US taxpayer, hardworking, and they will need to hear your message. Now I'd like to do is share with you a question from one of the viewers by the name of Tuck, and what he stated here is, good morning Ali, first, do you think that a settlement would be likely to be universal and pay each investor the same amount per share regardless of whether they've transferred their shares to AST? And his concern is there could be a quick cash settlement for those not in AST, while those in AST receive their payout in the form of a dividend from Nexbridge Hydrocarbons, which could differ in the amount and or take longer to distribute. And there could be if shares are in AST. So in fact, are they going to be treated differently? Do you believe that a cash settlement will be larger or smaller per share than a one-time dividend from Nexbridge Hydrocarbons? And he's also gone on to say there would be scores of extremely disgruntled investors if the amount of any payout differed from one group of investors to the other, especially since there's been so much confusion. And then there's also the issue of European investors and people with IRAs who are unable to transfer, and those who choose not to transfer because of the high fees. So we're going to look at the high fees and the broker update shortly. But in terms of answering this from my point of view, I think the key message from the company is they would like you to move your shares to AST, and one of the reasons why they would like you to do that is it will help in obviously finding out the share count and also finding out if there is a discrepancy. So that's the message from the company. And the other thing I would like to say is I do not believe any resolution will offer different payments to different investors. That's not how it will work, in my opinion. I think every single investor, regardless of if you are in AST or not in AST, should or would get the same amount per share. In terms of what that resolution is, again, that's speculation. When that resolution, that's also speculation. But remember, if John Berger is now in AST, Greg McCabe is in AST, Will Stewart is also in AST, so they are certainly not going to ensure a situation where they are penalised. So it will be, in my opinion, a case of all investors, regardless of you're in AST or not in AST, should get the same settlement. So the key difference, remember, if you do not go into AST, you do not get the new company share, 1-for-1 share for the new company called Newco, as of yet to be established. So, but you will still get Nexbridge Hydrocarbons. What I'd now like to do is provide an update on the broker surveys that I started a few days ago. So this is the first draft. So what we have on the left hand side is the brokers, and then we have the regions. Do they allow AST? Yes or no? What is the cost? What is the source of the information? And any specific comments. So we see here the majority of the brokers who are not allowing AST transfer, we can see are European based brokers, but we also have retirement accounts such as Fidelity in the United States as well. So the two interesting ones near the bottom, if we look at Freedom Finance Europe, they stated to yes, €500 fee to the Woolsey, but apparently it's still not gone through. So they're asking for €500 but keep denying the transfer. So a question mark on there. Anybody have an update on that? Would be appreciative if you could share that. And the other TD Canada, it looks like conflicting information here. They're saying yes and no. So obviously they were told yes to Cunningham, but Cunning 777, and that was a quoted fee of $80, but I believe no transfers completed so far. So let's move on to have a look at the free ones. So we include here JP Morgan, Vanguard, TDA Schwab, TradeStation. All of those seem to be completed for free, but I think the controversial one here is RBC. So there are a number of investors here that stated that the initial fee quoted was $500, then it went to free. But what is controversial about this one, and this is feedback from many investors, is that they have been moved without consent. So any more updates on that we could also look at. And finally, I'm going to share with you the brokers who are charging a fee. And we can see here E-Trade is a controversial one. What E-Trade are saying is, first of all, it's free, then it's £60, but so it's a kind of a yes and a no. In terms of the fee. So if you are with E-Trade, then it may be worth haggling to try and get this to be free, because some investors have managed to get it for free. So the highest one that I've received so far in terms of the fee is Q-Trade Canada. They were charging $350. Tiger Trades, Quest Trade, both of them charging $300 all the way down to the bottom. Robinhood charging $25. So certainly no consistency here whatsoever. And final thing I'd like to share with you is some stock analysis of two potentially undervalued semiconductor stocks. So the first one is ticker symbol FOUR, also known as Shift for Payments. So this is a $6 billion company. I believe they have been unjustly lumped into the payments sector weakness. Obviously, we're looking at vendor consolidation is real in this industry, and Shift 4 have been a net acquirer compiling their existing product portfolio. So the business model is to service payment processing at the consumer level. They sell predominantly into restaurants with their SkyTab POS and hospitality venues such as the Radissons. But if we have a look at in terms of some of the key figures here, we can see here on the screen, they have in terms of the earnings per share, we can see a good potential growth there. Year on year 2023, 107.5%, PE ratio of 25.53, sales 2.62 billion. That represents a growth of 31.36, and for 2024 this is expected to grow by 43% and continue to grow 2025 27.18%. So good credentials there, and potentially an undervalued company. And the second one I'd like to share with you is ticker symbol INDI, also known as INDI Semiconductor. This is a 1.3 billion semiconductor company that specializes in designing chips for the auto market, and there has been recent acceleration technological advances where vehicles drive autonomously. So obviously it is certainly in a good position there. And what we can also see here, they have in terms of a contracted backlog and revenue visibility, in addition profitability and future prospects for growth, and they have a 6.3 billion backlog, which estimates them to achieve a $630 million run rate by 2026. So good potential there for the company. And if we have a look at potentials in terms of earnings and revenue forecast here, we can see year on year earnings per share, we're looking at a growth of 42.84%. But what's interesting for projection for 2025 is increase by 315%. But not only that, we also have projected increases here for sales, 225 million 2023, 343 million just in excess of for 2024, and just in excess of 500 million for 2025. So again, excellent growth figures there, and for 2023 the growth is expected to be over 100%. So if you would like to get DD and additional stocks called in our daily stock alerts as well as the weekly watch list, details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.